Sendero is my company, a residential real estate house flipping company, and so I named our race team after that company. We're the primary sponsor, obviously, and it's a collaboration really between Geiser and myself. I started out racing in 2006. My uncles, I have a long family history of racing in Baja. They raced a Nissan Pathfinder down there and won whatever class that was. So they asked me to come race with them in 2006. We raced a 7X truck, finished the 1,000. I think we got 4th place. And I fell in love with desert racing at that time, and it's something I always wanted to do. I always knew at some point in my life I was going to come back. Anyway, long story short, I got hooked up with Geiser, and that's when I got in the Can-Am and started racing that. Geiser and I, we raced the California 300. And we took 3rd. We put it on the podium. Had a good race, good result. Decided that it was time to step up and had Geiser build us a Spec trophy truck, which we're really happy with for sure. So Geiser brothers, my uncle Cardi, who I started racing with, and we saw a trophy truck at one of the races. We all just were like amazed by the craftsmanship. And I remember him reaching out to Rick and Jeff about building him a truck. And I think Cardi had him build 2 trucks. And so that was kind of, I always had that in the back of my mind that he went to Geiser. And then I hooked up with Sean, came down here, and Rick and Jeff have been great. Jeff Geiser basically built my truck. He really took it as his own. We're Geiser brother people. So whatever we build another truck or whatever next step we take, we're going with Geiser brothers for sure. I did Vegas to Reno, and we went out, and it's intimidating, no question about it. And I just didn't want to ball it up. We have all the guys out there. Jeff Geiser worked incredibly hard putting the truck together. It's very easy to get the rear end loose on the 6100 versus the all-wheel drive Can-Am. We went to Vegas to Reno just to get our feet wet before going down to Mexico to the Baja 400. We broke power steering in qualifying at the Baja 400, had to start dead last, and we climbed all the way up the field to 4th on the road in the Baja 400. So we knew at that moment that we have the pace, we have the truck to compete with these guys. So that gives us the feeling, let's go down there to the 1,000 and let's get on the podium. I only raced the Baja 1000 once in 2006. That's my only experience, and I fell in love with Mexico. I loved it the first time I went down there, but the best drivers in the world race in Mexico, and I want to match my skills against the best, and that's, in my opinion, where you got to go.
Racing the Baja 1000, especially this year, going from La Paz back up to Ensenado is absolutely epic.
Spectacular event for La Paz, like it's a national holiday down there when the race comes into town. And for them to have it start down there was a whole new experience for them that they, I'm sure, have been waiting for.
Whenever you're able to do something the first time ever, that's cool to be a part of.
La Paz stepped up and it was impressive.
The people in La Paz are amazing, the fans, the contingency.
The fans are crazy down there. There's so many people that are just, this is like what they live for.
It really is a racer. It energizes you. It makes you want to do better and really put on a show for the fans. So that's the big thing, the people and the ruggedness and just being so far out in the untamed. I mean, down there, you don't just run down to, you know, the auto parts store and get parts or whatever. There's nothing down there. You know, fueling is a challenge. Everything becomes amplified. I was telling someone earlier, when you're in Baja, if you have a problem, it's going to be exponentially worse. You know, disagreements between team members, whatever, it's going to rip the scabs off and you're going to get to the heart of the matter. And I love that about Baja. We made the decision maybe 2 days before the race to have Jeff start the race.
After I got the call that I was going to start the race, knowing that we have 1,300 miles to race, this is going to be pretty much the longest one besides the Baja 2000. My step in it was just keep things moving forward and get the truck to Steve-O. You know, you take off and you run for, I think it was a third of the mile as fast as you can. Then it was 60, and then it was 37, and then it was 60 again. I was surprised how many people were down there, and it carried on all the way. We ran the asphalt for 10.5 miles.
It was pretty much solid fans the entire time.
And then, okay, we're in the dirt here, so we pull off. Now we're race speed, and they're just easy ups in cars, and they're just people. They must have been out there all night waiting for it to start. We were catching some of the slower cars, but the first maybe 20 miles of it's pretty tight and windy through the trees and that. Straight roads, it's only a truck wide, and you got trees coming over you in a tunnel, or you got cactuses that are right next to you. And you know, one little step out and it's not going to be good. It definitely keeps you on your toes. Made it to about mile 80, and those transmission was heating up.
We were in the really heavy, wet beach sand. Torque converter temps started rising. Told Jeff Geiser, hey, let's back it down a little. He started monitoring it. I figured airflow might be the issue, so I had to do what co-riders do, get some more airflow, pulled my shoulder harnesses off, turned around in the truck, got all set up, and basically just told him over the intercom, don't crash, and started pulling panels off and working on the truck as we were moving. Went full co-rider mechanic on it on the fly.
Backed it down a little bit, started cruising, got the temperature down, but every time you would get like 90 and above, about every second was a degree, it would keep climbing. So, but at like 85 mile an hour, temperature would stay fine.
Jeff did an amazing job getting it to race mile 200. We were ready to go there. I'd started my pre-running, knew the course from that point forward. And you deal with issues, and that's part of desert racing, and that's what makes it fun. So I got to manage the transmission. Okay, that's, probably most people are dealing with the same thing. Deal with it and go race. Third gear was unavailable, so I'm on the rev limiter in second gear at a top speed of probably 80 miles an hour. My co-driver's calling out 100 miles an hour, 100 miles an hour. I'm like, we just can't do it.
Only my second time ever being in a truck. Steve-O's a great driver, so I have all my trust in him, so I kind of just hand it off to him, tell him where to go, and if we get there, we get there. If not, it is what it is.
So before we get to Loretto, river crossings, big river rocks. beautiful area. Come up on an old mission up there. I think it's, 150, 200 years old. I don't know, it's old. In that moment, it's like you're not even thinking about racing. There's fans up there, by the way. There's people lining the streets in this small little village, and you go through there and it's just beautiful. And that again serves to re-energize you, to keep you going. One of my favorite places on earth, though. The submission is just gorgeous. Once I got to Loretto, that's where the silt bed started. That's where the gnarly stuff started, which I really enjoy because that's the challenge of it. I knew that section was going to be tough. I knew there was going to be carnage in there. And sure enough, one of the turns, there were two trucks, two of my competitors. I think I was running in third place, both stuck in the corner. And I spotted a line around the left and was able to overtake both of those guys. Didn't really know it. I knew it was good. Anytime you pass somebody, you know there's good things are happening. And Noah was on the comm saying, Steve, I don't even want to say anything, but I think we're running in first place right now, which I was stoked, but I also went back at him and said, focus on calling the notes, just stay on task. We're at race mile, 450. This is a 1,300 mile race.
Kind of just hold it wide and stay in the rails and hope you don't get out of it, but it was fun.
Nighttime came, still managing those transmission issues, and also in San Vicente, the power steering started becoming an issue. That's when I lost the lead, and I lost it to Riley Herbst, and I knew he was close behind me. I'm nursing the transmission, and I could feel his presence. I think we saw the push to pass, and so I was really leaning on the car. I went to third gear, and I'm just like, I'm going all in, and I hurt the truck, and we had an issue where no matter what gear we were in, as soon as I would hit the accelerator, immediately go red line and produce no power. So we had to pull off the course. I thought our race was over. I thought we blew up the third member or transmission. I didn't know what had happened. But we pull over, I would say a period of 5 minutes. We sit there, just let the truck idle. And we look at each other and said, let's just give it a try and see if we can get it and put it in gear. And slowly we're rolling and we're back in business, not immediately, but build speed. And then we're back to speed and racing again. That was a good feeling because I honest to God thought it was over. I was like, this is it. We're out here in the middle of nowhere, in the middle of the night. And oh, by the way, none of our comms are working. Our Starlink's not working. We have no SATCOM. We can't get a hold of anybody to come out here and help us.
They ended up changing the power steering pump, which put them down, and they checked the diff because they thought we were losing a diff too.
The guys did a great job getting the truck fixed up. The transmission started working better, and we just started rolling. always my focus is get the truck to Sean Geiser. Sean Geiser's our best driver, he's our youngest driver, and if we can get him in a good position, then good things are gonna happen. And so that's my mindset at that point.
Steve-O held strong. He held the lead for 220, 250 miles before he lost that power steering pump. And I mean, it's racing, everyone has their issues, but it was still exciting to like being able to run up there and run that pace.
Get the truck to Sean, north of Bay of LA, smooth pit stop, get out, super stoked. I didn't know where we were running. I think somewhere 4th or 5th at that point.
I got in mile 765. I think I got in, we were in 7th. Then I started the Catavenia loop and we cruised right through that.
Sean and I were running clean, picking off a few people.
Made a couple passes on some guys. We came out onto the highway. I think we're in 3rd or 4th.
Baja 1000 2023, Sendero Racing, Geiser Brothers. Just waiting for them to come by. Make it happen. Hopefully we get on the podium.
And everything was going good until we got to the goat trail. It's a pretty gnarly technical cliffs on each side section.
I told my co-driver, I'm like, I think we're losing another power steering pump because I could feel it like on, off. And we come into one corner and it just exploded. And there was smoke everywhere under the hood and
ended up for an eventful night out in the desert.
What's going on, Sean?
Well, we are coming down around 9:30 and sheared the power steering pulley, which we lost power steering and we're on the side of a cliff here. Then with no power steering, it blew the belt off. So we have no alternators, no water pump. And we tried to get it down the side of this hill and the truck started overheating and we went into just a low voltage and now we're done.
Here we are.
Here we are.
But we got our friends helping us.
We got our friends, amigos. And trying to stay out of everybody's way.
Right on.
We'll get them at the next one. And I thought we had enough room for everybody, but all the trucks coming past us kept like bumping the back of the truck farther and farther and farther over off the side of this hill.
But it was a bummer feeling because our pace was great. I kind of knew where we were, and I felt like we were going to finish up towards the top if the truck was healthy.
Sounds like we're waiting on another power steering pump. Until that happens, we sit here by the fire. They're at like 940 something, and we're at 1,000. So we have a little bit of time to sit and think. It's about 4:30, 4:45, something like that, and I'm pretty sure we'll see the sun come up.
The MSAT wasn't working, the Starlink wasn't working, the radios weren't working. Luckily, I stopped a motorcycle rider. I don't remember his name. I'd like to thank him now, but I told him, I'm like, get to the highway and tell someone in the pits to like tell Fish that Sendero needs a power steering pump at 9:38.
Craziest thing about the whole story is, with no comms working or anything, we're monitoring Fishgistics, and their Fishgistics on his live feed comes on and says, Sendero Racing just relay to you guys, y'all need a power steering unit up on Fred's tractor trail. And I'm thinking to myself, how in the hell does Fishgistics know that we need that? And I'm sitting here, I have SATCOMs, I have VHF radio, I have a Starlink, and we can't even get communication with my race driver.
Jeff showed up right around 5 in the morning, hooked onto it with the razor and started yanking it back up onto the course a little bit. We tried to get one good pull from the back and we just like drove up on a rock or something and it spit the side of the truck off the side of the hill and we're like, oh, we're done now. We need something bigger in here. And so we ended up having to have a chase truck come out and actually yank us back up onto the trail before we could get going again. But it was 12 hours probably had gone by before we actually got the truck unstuck back to the highway and we got back in and kept racing.
There we go.
Jeff's co-driver, Connor, was pretty emphatic, and I appreciate him looking back on it, that we needed to finish the race.
The adrenaline kind of starts going again. It's like, yeah, let's get this thing to the finish line. we've already made it this far. Let's at least finish.
We were up for, 38, 39 hours probably, me and my navigator. He was pretty burned out, so he got out at Ojos, and Steve-O actually jumped in the passenger seat and rode to the finish with me, but he was like instantly regretting it when he got in because it was pouring rain and it was just a big soupy, swampy mess, but it was, it's cool knowing that, that was like one of the longest Baja 1000s ever, so being able to just go through what we went through and get to the finish line was pretty cool.
I don't want to underestimate what a big deal that is. That is a really big deal, and it meant a lot to me. But at the same time, I'm at a point where it's like there's no more moral victories, guys. It's like we're going out, we have the pace, I want to put the truck on the podium. And that's incredibly difficult, and if you're going to be upset if you don't get that, then you probably need to find another sport. But at the same time, I think we always have to try to achieve more and strive for that, right? Even if you don't necessarily make it, that needs to be your goal. So yes, I was thrilled to finish the race, but at the same time disappointed that we had the pace, we had the lead, and Baja happens, mistake, things break, and that's just part of desert racing. The cool thing is that makes you want to come back all the more. Be like, man, I can't wait until the San Felipe 250 or the next Baja 1000 because I think we can have a good result. We're going to get our problems sorted out and go get a good result.